So for solving these puzzles, the rules are simple. Find the best move for either party that would either lead to capturing material or a checkmate where all continuations are considered. So now we see, if we look at white, it's white's move to play. White is down in material. Can you find the best solution for white here to basically put black out of his misery? So what will white do? So the solution here is white's going to take his e7 bishop here and actually move it over here to d8. Now this does two things. For one, it disconnects these rooks from guarding each other, but at the same time it opens up this dangerous diagonal, or this column here, for this queen to come here and capture this f7 pawn. So what is white's or black's best response? Well, surprisingly, black can come over here and guard with the rook here on f8, or black can come in here with this queen and guard to f5. But in either situation, white is going to be capturing this rook right here and coming up in material. We could see a possible continuation, possibly as the queen coming over here, trying to exchange queens here. If the bishop comes here to capture, the rook will slide over and capture the queen. But in this situation, black is significantly down now after losing a rook. The next position right here, black right now is actually down 2 pawns in material, but he's compensated by an additional piece. But what black has as an advantage is he has this nasty pin right here with this bishop forking this rook and this queen. So it's white's move to play. What is the best move for white here in this situation? It's actually a very interesting move here. It's his rook here is going to be going to capture f6 right here. This knight is captured, but what it does now is opens up for this bishop to come right here and capture the queen. Will black be greedy and capture the queen, or is there a better response? Well, in this situation we'll look at both. So play could continue with this knight coming over here to capture this rook, but as a result now, black is pinned on this knight and he can't defend this bishop anymore for the queen to come in here and just gobble it right up. So let's return to this initial position. Let's say that after white plays his rook to f6, black decides to be greedy and goes ahead and captures his queen. Goes up significantly up in material. Well, this will actually be a terrible move for black now, because now black is going to lose after that move. So play continues. Rook slides over to g6, opening up a double check with this bishop here on b2 and this rook. Black is forced to move. Only one move is available. White goes on and slides this rook 1 square forward. Again, white's king is forced to move. Only one available spot. Again, the rook slides over here, being defended by both the white's dark and light squared bishop. Again, white's king is forced to move, and checkmate comes, and black is finished. For our third puzzle right here, so it's white's move to play. What's white's best move here? It already looks like white's queen and his rook are eyeing down this pawn right here on c6, but it's defended twice and attacked twice. But white actually has a very interesting move here, quite clever here. White's going to go ahead and attack it with his rook here on c6. Now, white here is now actually able to win that pawn in material, because if black responds here by capturing this rook, white can now respond with this knight here forking the queen and the king. So essentially black cannot capture that piece. If we look again, after white's rooks come in right here to c6, black can't capture it because of this forking of this knight. So in this position, white was able to win a pawn in material. White is approaching the endgame, where the pawns will be absolutely critical for a successful victory here. And at the moment right now, pawn material is equal. Both parties have 2 knights and 6 pawns. So what is the best move here for white to play? Well, looking at this pawn here on c6, it's being defended twice by this knight and this queen, but at the same time it's being attacked twice by this knight here and white's queen here. So actually the best move here for white here will be actually taking on and capturing on this pawn here. If play is to continue, the knight comes over here to capture back its material. The queen can always come back right here and capture that knight, knowing that if that queen comes here and captures it, the knight can come over here to e7 and fork both the king and the queen, forcing the king to move. The knight comes over here to capture, and as a result, white was able to win a pawn, and now it's 6 pawns versus 5 pawns, which will be very, very important for the approaching endgame. Final puzzle in this series, the 5th one being the hardest. And if we look at this situation here, but first of all, this game comes from P.F. Schmidt and P.R. Schmidt, 2 brothers, 2 grandmasters playing each other in the Heidelberg tournament in 1946. And it's white's move to play here. And if we look at overall on the board, we have a very, very dangerous pass pawn here for black. But actually, white eyes a very, very nice victory. Can you see this? What does white play to finish off black? What white's going to do is he's actually going to sacrifice his queen by playing it to h6 right here. Now black has 2 responses. Black king could come and capture this queen, or black king can come over here to h8 and basically hide away. And we'll see why both situations will lead to a checkmate. So let's look at situation 1. Black king comes over here to h8 and hides away. Well, what white's going to do is he's going to go on and sacrifice his queen again, trying to push black to capture. Now in this situation, black is forced to capture the queen. Play continues. Now this pawn right here is going to capture g6 here, a double check. Basically black's king has to move. He can't capture this g6 square, this g6 pawn, because the knight is still defending it. So play continues. Black king only has 1 potential move here, and rook slides up here, and that is a checkmate for black with no potential squares to escape to. Noting that this f6 square is still defended by this knight. This queen moved over to h6 here, giving a check. So the king, we've seen, has to capture the queen now. So after king captures the queen, white's now going to open up this pawn right here for a surprise check on the king. So we see a check on the king. Again, we could see that the black king could retreat to g7 here, this square, but as a result the rook could slide in here to h7 and deliver a checkmate. So here black is really just forced under certain moves, and here black has to take on g5. Really no other option available for him. So what white's going to do now is he wants to get this bishop on e2 involved. And what he's going to do is he's going to sacrifice his rook now. So play continues, h5 rook here. Another forced move for black. Notice how all these are forced moves, which reduces the possibility for error when you have to consider multiple variations for black's potential pieces to move. When there's only one choice involved, it's a lot easier to think forward ahead in the game to determine the best move. So in here, white king has no other option really. He has to take on this piece. No other squares here surrounding him are available. Black captures. White's going to move this pawn here to f3 or f4, excuse me. Now open up this bishop eyeing down on the king and checkmate and checking the king. Play continues, and now he's going to capture this bishop, but black's defenses are no use. Play were to continue, white could move his bishop or his rook here down here and eye down this h file and check the king, but that would be a very bad position for white because now white king could go to safety right here to g4. So in order to avoid and protect this square, white's going to move his knight now to f6, and we'll see that that forces another check on the king, and now the king is forced to move further down this h file in defense. Play continues now. Now we have the potential to move this rook over here for another check, noticing that all these moves for black are forced. Black now has to hide away further in his defense to g7. So play continues. White could move this rook up down this h file to h7, but that would not really be a good move because for one, again, that would not be a good move because black could just go ahead and capture this knight. So what white is still doing is still checkmating the king further. So we have the knight here to e8, sliding over, checking the king again. Now black's king is really forced. One move is available for him. This square right here is being guarded by the knight. Rook's guarding this square, and the check is coming, and this square is being guarded by the knight here on e7. So the king is forced to go even deeper and being lodged in this corner. But black decides to capture, but it really doesn't matter anymore because now white can come in here with this rook and check it, because now he's left the defense here of this f7 pawn by the rook that was here initially. So even if black decides to hide away either to either of these two squares on the f file to either e6 or e8, in the game black actually played e6 or f6, excuse me. The rook can slide over here and deliver the checkmate, and black is finished. If you were able to solve this puzzle, which is actually 9 moves ahead, give yourself a pat on the back because this one was extremely difficult.